Ladies and gentlemen, booze and movies. Just, having a zit on your scrotum is just, it's painful and it pinches and it sucks. But just when you pop it, it's just the greatest catharsis in the world. It's
amazing.
Are we recording right now?
Yeah, we're recording right now.
Oh my God.
I've literally had that exact thing. No joke. Like the other day I got rid of one and it's this weird fucking like personal accomplishment plus relief at the same time.
Yeah. It's like, gentlemen, when you get older, your face will clear up and the zits will just move south. So get ready for that.
Oh, I think we might need to get your mic closer.
Closer to me?
Coming in a little small. Finagle it as need be.
I guess I'm on top there.
Yeah, you are input 1.
I'm on top.
Or no, yeah, you're input 1. Yeah.
Just say I'm on top.
You're on top.
Thank you.
I don't like to say that to other men.
That's why I made you say it. Well, hello, William.
Hello, Steven. It is time for the second episode of Booze and Movies.
That's right. Once a month, I guess. That's our frequency.
Well, I would have done more, but I went on a cruise.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's right. That's where you were for 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks. It wasn't. I'm not gonna even go into it. It's a story all its own.
Yeah.
But you know what else is a story all its own?
This is booze and movies, not cruise and movies. Okay.
Cruise and movies sounds just like.
That's next.
Is that where we just talk about Tom Cruise? It's cruise in movies.
You mentioned Tom Cruise, and I immediately had a flashback to Les Goodman in Tropic Thunder when he's yelling at the British guy at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then he looks at it like, oh, Mr. Four-Leaf Cloak, you're a great American. Thank you for your service. Now shut the fuck up!
So,
one of his greatest performances other than Magnolia, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I actually liked Tropic Thunder. That it had some parts in it that just made it. It's the parts in it that make it great, not the whole movie together. But there's some bits that just I love.
I had an embarrassing laugh out loud moment in the theater seeing Tropic Thunder at the very beginning when they're going through the montage, like the Access Hollywood montage, and the lady, it's like an actual anchor, and they're talking about Simple Jack or whatever the I Am Sam type movie that Ben Stiller does, and Ben Stiller's quote is, "You make me happy," and then the Brooke Baldwin or whoever is the Access Hollywood lady says, "Well, we don't know if Tropic Thunder will make the box office." It's just she does the eyes like like the eye cross-eyed or whatever, and I like guffawed and like I was like like that in the theater, and oh, sorry.
That's good.
I thought this was America. I thought I was in a comedy. But speaking of acting weird in theaters,
oh yes, so
which might segue into our topic.
Which our topic today is
bad theater experiences in movies.
Yes, well, specifically ones that we have experienced together, plus some.
Yeah, we've got some.
We had some fun ones together in the theater.
Yes, and it's ironic. We're called Booze and Movies, and we are drinking beer while talking, but. A lot of times booze is the cause of these experiences in a negative way. Yeah,
but in a positive way, I am drinking a local Huss Brewing. It's called Coffee Kolsch. Kolsch. I'm not good at anything with an umlaut, but it's Huss Brewing Coffee Kolsch, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, you've had like 4 already, so I'm guessing you like it quite a bit.
I'm going to kill this 6er before the night's over.
My goodness. And I'm also drinking a statewide beer from Arizona from the Papago Brewing Company. This is Orange Blossom, and it's like a mandarin wheat. Mm-hmm. But it's weird. It's more wheat than mandarin. It's more like a Blue Moon. It's not like a whole orange slices in the can. It's pretty good. It's smooth.
That's the reason I like it, is because it almost is like you got a Blue Moon and you got that orange slice and you squeeze it in there. It's like it's the best balance possible. And it comes right out of the can. You're just ready to go.
It's right out of the can. So easy. Thank you, whoever invented beer cans.
So what's a good one we should start off with as far as I think the most recent as far as bad experiences together was Doctor Strange?
Yeah, I mean, well, like a bit of brief setup. We live in an area where there's just a higher percentage of folks with some substance abuse problems. It's just kind of common.
I
around
don't,
here.
I think
don't
we just
get
have
it.
like a more per capita because like
It's very permissive here.
we're technically a smaller population than most cities, but I think we have the same amount of people with chemical issues.
Yeah.
So it seems more obvious.
Well,
maybe?
I don't know. It's kind of weird because like the Doctor Strange incident. This was at our old theater on the west side of town.
Last one we saw before
And
it changed.
It was like I thought Arrival was the last.
No, you're right. It was you and me and Arrival.
Yeah,
Which was quiet.
which was a great experience and a beautiful movie. But yeah, that was like I was thinking to myself like, because we have a lot of what they call street level alcoholics, who are just the folks walking around in circles waiting to get their next drink.
Pretty much.
And that's who I was wondering, like, how did these people sneak into the theater? Like, who were these people? Like, did they get in through the outdoor exit? Or are they, they somehow, like, how? Because they were not behaving like normal people, even like civilized drunks. They were just
Smash drunk.
Yeah, just completely unself-aware, self-unaware, just gone.
Yeah. And to give a little information to that, our theaters up here actually have the right to refuse service if you seem too drunk. So how, like you said, how they got through the door is a mystery, but it was a mother and son, oddly enough, or at least that's what they were referring to each
We
other
came
as.
to find out, yeah.
Yeah, and it started out with the mom from the beginning of the movie seeing Doctor Strange in the surgery room performing surgery. She was adamant that she's been to the doctor enough times she could perform brain surgery, but it didn't come out like, oh, I'm confident I can do that. Yeah. No, I'm gonna step away from the mic for this. It came out as, I've been to the doctor, I can do that.
Yeah.
That was what we listened to for a good 20 minutes of the movie.
Exactly, and she had that old, and it started. This was, and it's all coming back to me now. This is the very first time I have ever gone to complain to like management about like, hey, there's somebody that you should probably get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
so we can enjoy our movie. Otherwise, I'm asking for my money back.
Which what they shut up every time the guy came in to check to see what everyone was complaining about.
I think the son was conscious enough to kind of be on the lookout. Like anytime a management guy came around, and the theater again, they didn't handle it very well because they made it pretty obvious. Like, hi, I'm here to observe you two people in the back row.
Yeah.
And no one else. Like,
yeah, they should have sent in one of the people with like a broom and a bucket, make it look like they were picking up popcorn, but instead they sent in the manager with a flashy name tag and a black suit.
They were in the last row, so literally the projectionist could have stuck their head out of the hole and be like, hey, knock it off.
Yeah.
But
it would have been so easy.
So, and see, we talk about this because, the theater going experience is part of
loving movies.
The movie, but also it's part of your, like when you see the movie for the first time in the theater, that movie's imprinted on you, and so is the whole experience.
Exactly.
So when you go and you see Last Jedi in the theater, and there's some nerd behind you like, bombs! Oh my God, bombs!
This is
What's
real.
What's gonna happen with the bombs?
This actually happened, by the way.
I can't ever. I mean, not that I would want to, because the movie kind of sucked, but I can't watch Last Jedi again without thinking of that asshole.
Yeah,
it's like when you go on vacation and you get a rude front desk person at the hotel. Like everything was great except for that front like 20 years later, I'm going to remember that asshole at the front desk. 20 years later, I'm going to remember this guy screaming at the lightspeed scene in Last Jedi. Which was
such a beautiful scene. The way I know you don't like the movie, but that scene was pretty great because it went flash quiet and the ship shot through, and it was making you look at the damage it did. I'm not saying it was better than any other sci-fi epic. It's not as good as the original Star Wars, but it was a neat scene because all you did was you just saw destruction. That's what you looked at. And this fucker ruins it. Oh my God! Oh my God! Look at that! We're like, yes, we all see it. The theater is as big as my house. I can see it.
We're literally all here to see the same thing, sir. It's
I just like, because you and me, like we're both Star Wars fans. We're both Trekkies.
Yeah.
We enjoy those franchises.
And you know what? We're both very loud and boisterous people when we're each in our own homes.
Exactly. And we've had a couple beers and we're talking and yelling about shit, joking about shit on YouTube. But like I was mentioning earlier before we started, like You and me, like, we'll bump each other on the shoulder and whisper something, like if it's a funny joke. But it's just loud enough for us two.
And I will like shield my mouth, like, William, I will not remember this in 2 hours, so I need to tell you now that Captain America did this funny thing, and that's an Easter egg or what? I don't know. There's something.
Yeah. Well, it's like, so for a real
or
world
like
example,
when we went to see, it was
Wrath of Khan, right?
Yeah, you, your wife, me, and my mother.
I like your mom.
I know she's fun to hang out with sometimes, but it's that whole, I'm a 38-year-old man. I take my mom to movies. But it was like during the 90-minute prologue with drunken William Shatner being interviewed, like, to me, that's okay to like lean over and say, I can't believe he just said that, or I can't believe we're watching this, but not like when, Spock is in the radioactive chamber and he, he's doing the hand on the glass and the needs of the many speech and all that. It's not appropriate to go, hey, a hot dog would sound really good right about now. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Or what's wrong with Spock's face?
Yeah.
It's all fucked up.
Well, and I'm it's been a big drain on our marriage, but Heather still doesn't quite understand Star Trek, and we're working on it. But I didn't want stop during that movie to be like, all right, hon, the reason this is important, is because Shatner, as Captain Kirk, never quite understood the logic of a Vulcan.
It's because midlife crisis.
I never, and that's Shatner's best toupee right there on screen. I never did that. Never once did that. I might bump her on the shoulder, and I had to tell her a couple times, hey, this is the reason why Spock is doing that. That was about it. 2 seconds, really quiet. No one heard me but her.
Yeah.
And it's not just the yelling. You had the kid about to break a seat in front of you.
Oh, X-Men Apocalypse. And it's funny. And again, this is how much we love movies. We remember these by the movie. X-Men Apocalypse, where we went. It was a popcorn for breakfast showing. Excuse me. It was a popcorn for breakfast showing. Our tradition of going to early, before noon.
Yeah, the earliest showing they have. Yep.
And it was literally like this family where the kid it was like me, then you guys were to my right.
Yes, it was you. Okay.
Me, then Heather, then you.
The reason for that is, or no, it was actually after that movie we tried the other thing. But every time you sat to our left, weird shit happened. So after that, since then, you've always sat on our right.
Okay, yes.
But yes, it was you, and then Heather had gotten into the seats before me, so she was right next to you, and then it was me.
Yes.
So it was you, Heather, and then me. So I was out of range of the swingage. Heather was barely in it. You were
right
full
in ground
face.
zero. Because the kid, it was like bouncing. You know how the seats in modern theaters, they rock back. Even in our old theater,
they
rock back.
Yeah.
And the armrests move up and down. Well, this kid was experiencing full function of all the motion of all the seat. And the one next to him, he was strong enough to just belt the seat next to him and make it go back and hit us in the knees.
Yeah.
And it's like, ma'am, how much sugar? This is me in my head. Ma'am, how much sugar did you feed your fucking son this morning?
What
like the whole box of Crunch Berries, or
Well, and that kid had a massive slushie next to him.
Yes, that was
next
not.
to him.
Yeah.
And what makes it so funny is watching that kid do that, because I didn't notice it until I heard it. The seat was making very audible noises,
and this is during a loud.
Yes.
Fucking action movie with Apocalypse blowing people up all over the place.
That's what I was about to say. This was, I think it was during the scene where they're pulling all the metal out of the planet.
Yeah, Magneto was just going apeshit.
Yeah, so that was loud, and I heard it over that.
Yes.
And so I looked over and I saw it, and I wanted to be mad, but I started laughing because in my head, all that popped in was those old car PSAs from the 70s where it shows a guy pulling on shit in the car and kicking it to show how good the car is.
Yeah.
That's what that kid was doing, but to that chair.
First it was his chair, and then it was his chair, and it was like a double, ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. And then after the movie was over, because we're sitting around, it's a comic book movie, we're thinking, oh, there's an end credits scene. Maybe Wolverine will show up again. He just runs out, runs back and forth in the aisle, he's ready to go. Put a fucking leash on this kid. He's ready to go run through the park.
Yeah, he was 10 shots of espresso in kid-wise as far as energy. He was, I've been around children who have legitimate chemical problems. I've been around children who are trying to get attention.
Well,
this was something different. He was
Yeah.
sugared out of his
I-
gourd.
I empathize because I grew up where it's like soda is fine. It's not fat, so you can drink as much as it's just no one cared about sugar. Why can't Steven go to bed? Why is Steven acting up? Why is Steven talking gibberish? Why is Steven won't be quiet? Why won't Steven just quiet down? It's like,
Why is he convening with the faceless lady in the mirror?
third soda in 24 hours. That's why. And it's just no one's learned. Like, there's 30 grams of sugar in every can, and it's just you drink it so easily. And
It's like that whole
it's
mom
processed.
It's like that whole mom getting pissed at McDonald's because you don't say what's in it. It's like it's a goddamn slushy.
Yeah.
What do you think is in a slushy?
Sugar and water.
Sugar and water. That is the sugar, water, and a couple flavorings
red dye,
and colorants.
Purple dye number 2.
Yeah, or was it yellow number 8 or whatever was the big concern.
Red
in
dye
the
number
2000s.
5 was the cancerous.
Oh, yeah, there you go,
one.
yeah.
There were red M&Ms.
But yeah, it's just and
then like it's bad enough that the children are misbehaving. X-Men Apocalypse, it's PG-13. It's borderline. You can bring a 10-year-old to, right?
yeah, it had a little bit of blood, some punching. That's about
Some
it.
fantasy violence.
Yeah.
Here's my big anecdote for the episode that'll knock you on your ass. I went to see David Fincher's adaptation of Girl with Dragon Tattoo, and this is before we met. This is like 2011, I think, like right before we met.
I don't know. I think the
But I was
American Dragon
doing-
Tattoo came out right after we met in the office, but I don't think we
But we weren't
talking
hanging
at that
out
point.
yet.
Yeah, we were kind of
And
joking in the office at that point.
I was doing proto popcorn for breakfast, where I was just like, it's early on a Saturday. I'm gonna go see this movie because I like David Fincher and I like Rooney Mara, and I saw the Swedish version with
Oh, those are great.
Nomi Rapeface. What's her name? Nomi Rapace.
I always forget her name, but she's a
And-
fantastic actress. I love her.
In her native Swedish, she is, yes. And that was a little confusing because I'm not familiar with. I didn't get the whole part where like she has this legal guardian that can just rape her whenever he wants and control her bank account. Like I'm like, fucking Sweden, really? But then I looked up Steve, like the author just really hates humanity, and that's why everyone sucks. And his, like, oh, he's Swedish and he hates people. That's just great. But anyway, in this scene where there was just horrible ultra violence towards women and horrible, just complete depravity, mom with 3 kids is like coloring books and Legos are fucking everywhere. And one kid's like, Mommy, what's happening? Mom, why is the girl kissing the other girl? Mommy, why is the man in the torture device, like in the basement? Like, fucking, and again, like I said, every time I see Girl with Dragon Tattoo, I'm gonna
You
think
just
of that.
teleported back, yeah.
I'm just gonna think of the Blomquist and this 4-year-old kid with his Legos.
Well, and that's like so another example of kids. So hopefully some people, if anyone listens to this, have seen Pan's Labyrinth, which is Guillermo del Toro. If I need to say any more, then please stop listening now. Guillermo del Toro.
Should have won the Oscar for that, not Grinding Nemo.
I'm not going to get into that. I loved that film. It was a fantastic film. Anyway,
Florida Project should have won the Oscar. And Grinding Nemo. Sorry.
Do you hate it because it won an award, or you hate it because you just don't like the film?
I hate it because it's the lab animal trope just taken so off the wall. It's like Project X, but
You got it wrong. It's showing that humanity is more monstrous than a monster. That is the point of that movie. Anyway,
I've
we'll
never
sidebar.
seen it.
We'll argue that movie in another episode.
The plot to every zombie movie ever made.
But to talk about kids, so we went and we saw Pan's Labyrinth, which as I was walking to Pan's Labyrinth, the lady at the ticket counter was like, well, just to let you know, this is a rated R movie, so if you leave the theater, you can't come back in. Our theater up here did a thing for a little while that rated R movies people were sneaking into, so if you had a stub, even if you left and you had the stub, they're like, you can't come back in the theater.
Oh.
It wasn't like going out for popcorn, it was like if you left the theater grounds.
Right.
But so we're like, okay, doesn't matter. Okay, rated R. So we're in there and we see a couple kids, but kids in rated R movies isn't anything that is weird now. But it's so funny where that movie's normal. It's a little weird. And then they catch the rebel and they ask him where his encampment is, and he refuses to say anything. And they beat him to death with a bottle by crushing his fucking face.
And that's in a movie full of fantasy violence. That's like real world, like that's like actual human on human violence, not demon with eyes in his hands trying to chase a little girl.
Yeah.
Like
No, there was some the worst violence in that movie is what people were doing to other people.
Yeah.
The creatures in her world did very little. It was really just and like the guy getting his hand split in half while he was being tortured. But like the guy's getting beat in the face, and it shows a view of his skull just inverted, and it had to have been a good third of the theater starts crying and screaming, and parents are lifting their kids and walking them out. And what I'm thinking is like, yeah, the trailer showed it's very magical and it has a kid as the protagonist and all that, but you bought the ticket.
Yeah.
You know it's rated R.
Right. And also, same thing happened to me kind of at Peter Jackson's King Kong, where it's like nobody really knew like this movie is going to spend 3 hours on the island and you're going to watch people die in horrible ways. But
Spiders.
like the worms, my God, those worms. Poor Andy Serkis as Cookie getting the worms there. But like, yeah, it's like, it's this fun, happy-go-lucky, we're in New York Depression era and look, we're skating around the ice and blah, blah, blah. And old Jack Black, just that bumbling idiot trying to get his movie made, lying to everybody. And then all of a sudden it's just this morbid 2 hours of morbid gruesomeness, and these kids in the front row are like traumatized, like what, you know, like. And again, the movie's what 15 years old now, and I still can't think about it without thinking about those kids. And
The best traumatized children I ever saw in the theater though was God, when did Mars Attacks come out?
98, 97
somewhere.
ish.
So I went with my dad because he really wanted to see it, and I thought it would be a fun alien movie because I was at that age. I thought aliens and blasters and things were cool. So we went and we saw it, and there was these kids right next to us, and the movie's going on in the beginning. Nothing's going on. The neighbor comes up. He goes, "Man, you cooking some barbecue?" And the guy's like, "No, why?" And then the whole herd of cows runs by on fire. Mm-hmm. These kids next to us lost their shit.
Really? For
yes,
that?
at the burning cows, but they didn't leave yet.
Not Sarah Jessica Parker's head on a poodle?
No,
or
that's
whatever,
near the
Chihuahua?
end. No. So they saw the burning cows. They freaked out. The mom calmed them down, and they're doing fine. And then there was the cross-species interception, or not interception, but reception. When the alien, they got the red carpet, the ship lands, the aliens walk out really calm, and then they shoot the dove, and the kids lost it again, and the mom had to take them out because they were just just losing it.
Yeah,
and
I can understand. That movie was a lot of gruesome cartoon violence.
It was, but it was another one of those things like you bought the ticket. You know the rating on the movie.
Well, that's the thing is fucking parents these days. I wish I was a parent just so I could like have some cred to say I'm not this way.
Yeah, I don't take my kid to this movie.
I'm that guy who's like, I'm so critical of parents and the way they raise their kids. Like it's all like we're in a society where it's like if there's no warning label, then there's nothing. Like I didn't know I couldn't do that. It's like the whole I spilled hot coffee on myself. I didn't know it was going to burn me, or I didn't know this movie was going to traumatize my kid. It's like it's fucking Independence Day. It's Jurassic World. There's dinosaurs eating people whole throughout that whole movie.
Oh goddamn!
What did you expect was going to happen?
So Jurassic World. So that's another experience that Heather and I had. I'll bring up this one. This is equivalent to yours being on your own. So Heather and I went to see Jurassic World, which we went to see in the theater because we had high hopes for it. I'm not going to go into why I didn't like it, but there's this guy in front of us, and he's laughing at everything that's happening, but he sounds a little messed up. And I maybe that's not the play. I don't know the politically correct term for this, but he sounded like he had some sort of mental disorder. And I'm not. That's not a criticism, but he sounded like he had something that was. And you know what? So Heather and I were like, you know what? He has something honestly wrong with him. Fine, he can watch a movie. He can have fun. But then he got up to go to the bathroom, and I was surprised because he got up on his own. So usually if they usually have an escort.
You were expecting him to pull a Steve Martin in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels?
No, not that at all. I was expecting the guy to go with because he had someone with him. I was expecting them to both walk out and then both come back walking back in. But he's walking by, and then as he walks by, Heather's near the aisle. She turns to me and she goes, "Did you smell him?" I was like, "No, I didn't." She's like, "I've never smelled anyone that smells as much like alcohol as him." Mm-hmm. And so I was aware on the way back. I was waiting for it. So he came back and I smelled. You could bathe in whiskey and not smell that much like whiskey. This dude was fucked.
I love it when it smells so powerful you can tell what kind of liquor it is.
Yes, it was clearly whiskey. It was a cheap whiskey too. He was covered in like,
Well, yeah,
he was covered in like
saying.
SoCo or something, yeah. And he just like, ha ha ha, this is our sort.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. And so after that, I'm like, that's not okay then. Drunk is not okay. Shut the hell up.
Yeah. And I've seen that, like, I go to, sporting events, football games, but, like, you expect that where they sell alcohol at the venue.
Yes.
Some people are going to act that way.
So you kind of accept it. Yeah.
And before and after, especially at a football game where you tailgate before, and the whole point is to get as drunk as you can before you go into an area where beers are $10.
Yeah, to make the Cardinals tolerable. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank God I'm not a Cardinal fan. Anyway, but like at a movie theater, at a movie theater at 2:00 on a Tuesday, you just don't expect that kind of behavior, but we just always seem to find it.
Yeah. Well, it's just like even if it's not like a theater environment. Like we have an Orpheum theater here, an old style theater with seating and then standing room.
Not
and
the movie theater, but it's a theater.
Yeah,
downtown.
yeah.
Concerts and stuff.
And so we, based on Heather's recommendation and yours, we all went to go see Rocky Horror Live or Rocky Horror Interactive. And so, if you were a front row virgin,
with my
your new girlfriend,
my
who
girlfriend,
we barely knew,
my very suburban and sheltered girlfriend at the time,
who ended up pelvic thrusting me during this performance.
She got into it. Yeah,
I'll admit she was having fun.
She has an amazing ability to really get out of her element and have fun. But anyway,
so they called all the front row virgins up. And apparently the guy right next to you, who, by the way, this guy was, and I'm not exaggerating, as soon as this guy finished a shot and a beer, he got another shot and a beer.
Yeah, he was literally tossing them back.
Yeah, he was throwing it back.
And then he was shoveling bar food and like nachos or whatever.
The bad stuff too, like the street tacos and the nachos and the pizza.
The stuff that on a normal stomach you probably could struggle to keep down.
And he's just shoveling this stuff, and like, apparently he knew one of the virgins up there. We still, to this day, it is lost in legend. This is kind of like King Arthur, whether he existed or not.
Well, it's the Laurel or Yanni thing for us.
Yeah. So was he yelling Kevin or was he yelling Gavin?
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
And then we never got to ask him because he puked up everything that was inside of him all over the place minutes later.
So again, you were sitting to our left.
Yes, and weirdness happened.
And
fortunately, I saw the signs. Like I could see him convulse. Like he was doing the like I'm like oh shit, Well, like I walked around Joanne and like was like dragging her like move, just move, don't ask questions, just move.
Which is hilarious because I didn't know any of this was happening.
And even his friends were looking at me moving and not him puking. Like, and his friends were like, dude, Devin, what the fuck, like they didn't expect that to happen. Like this doesn't happen every time they bring him out.
Oh my God. It was so funny because I didn't even know anything was going on until physically Heather and you were sliding me sideways.
Yeah.
Because like I'm just sitting there, I'm watching because
I was like trying not to make a scene because there's already going to be a scene with this guy puking all over the place and over his friends and girlfriend. But at the same time, it's like if I can save somebody from getting some shrapnel, I will definitely cry out like, duck!
And then to show how professional and upright and quick acting our Orpheum Theater is, they did nothing about it the rest of the time.
Oh, they let it just sit there and fester the whole fucking show.
They never even brought a guy out with cones.
No sawdust.
Nothing. Not that chemical or that bodily fluid thing you're supposed to, or that powder you're supposed to put on it. Nothing. They let it.
I'm starting to yak just thinking about it. Just it was 2 years ago, and I can't.
Oh my God, I know, right? But
a bunch of savages in this town.
So that's basically like a lot of the shit we've gone through.
That's
up
our
here.
yeah. That's
and what's sad is so what saddens me about it is, like you said, part of seeing the movie is going and experiencing it in the theater.
Yeah,
because you can't have a 9.1 system in your house unless you got the money for it. And
you can't have like 48 frames a second on your TV and 3D if you're into that. But also, like, just seeing it life size is still worth it for some movies.
Well, and as odd as this is to say, is like you get little details that on your screen you may not catch. Like, Marvel especially loves to throw those little things in the background. Mm-hmm. And when you see it in the theater, you're like, oh, did you see that was so and so's armor or something like that? when you see it at home, like you got to watch the movie a couple times, which is something I'm into, but a lot of people don't want that. And like you said, you try to go back to when you saw the movie, but all you do is go back to when you saw that movie.
And because my last anecdote will be I saw Gravity. You remember that with Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
Lost in
I
Space?
never got around to seeing it.
Which is actually it's completely kind of schmaltzy and like, oh, she survives. Spoiler, she survives.
Oh no!
But it's kind of intense, and like the way she gets from capsule to capsule and all that, and then finally, she does re-enter and she's landing on Earth, and she's in a lake, and the capsule's filling. It's like the climax of this movie is she's got to now that she's avoided dying in space, she's got to avoid drowning on Earth, and it's just this really intense thing, and all of a sudden, like. These people I shared the theater with were just quiet the whole movie. But all of a sudden, some homie this is fucking stupid.
Was it a homie or a dude, bro?
It was a homie because I was in the Bay Area, so it was a homie.
Oh, okay, that's not a derogatory term in any way. Just we've developed classifications of people. Again, not that sounded worse.
No,
that sounded
don't
even
speak
worse.
for me. I judge everybody.
I'm saying
I categorize everybody and judge them.
But like in a social grouping, like you have those college age guys with the pop collars, way too much Axe body spray, and they're talking like this, bro. That's a dude, bro.
Douchebag.
That's a douchebag, dude, bro.
Yeah.
And then like the homie is the guy that, again, no matter what his skin color is, he's talking like this, man.
Yeah.
And like, dude, that's
whack.
That's whack. Like that's that falls into it.
Like it's like you can't just take yourself out of the put yourself empathize with this woman's fucking journey for once, like 1 minute. Like I get it. It's now she has to deal with this. Like I understand that the sarcastic way to look at that is, now she's drowning after surviving space. Okay, I get that. But still, it's like for 5 seconds, can you just, I don't know, just get in the movie?
Reel
just
it back,
live the movie? Yeah, just dial it back a bit.
Well, and even talking about reeling it back, so to bring it back to Last Jedi, we saw that, and there was the guy behind us fucking freaking out. When we first got in that theater, all three of us saw the guys in the front with the lightsabers that were lightsaber battling.
Yeah.
Which we were like, oh, these dudes are going to be a fucking problem the whole movie.
You better sit the fuck down.
And guess what they did? As soon as the movie started, they shut that shit off.
Yep.
And they shut up. And we were like, we respect those guys because they came in costume, they came with lightsabers, and they stopped as soon as the film was going.
Yeah.
But that guy, the plainclothes bastard behind us, just was losing his shit. And I don't understand because like I mentioned,
I don't
before,
get, like,
we're fans of stuff.
Yeah,
and
the
yet we
movie-
don't freak out.
The movie is 10 minutes old, and it's on this ridiculous, we're going to bomb the mothership in space with bombs that fall according to gravity in space. Like that was what was pissing me off the most. It was like, why are they dropping
The
bombs
physics.
in space? You just shoot them. Proton torpedoes, for fuck's sake. But like the guy was like, when the bomb bay doors open and the ships start getting blasted, I was like, oh my God, here we go. I'm like, it's not a roller coaster. It's not interactive. It's not, you don't heckle them. The movie can't respond to you.
Yeah. Okay, so to put it on a scale maybe everyone will understand. That guy's response to every moment in that movie was every guy's response to getting laid the first time.
When Luke tosses the lightsaber, it was, oh God. And like the Moof Milker part and the like and of course, again, criticism of Last Jedi, a little too much funny parts, a little too much hokiness,
Yeah.
shit falling on people
And yeah, I really don't want to. I don't want to get into talking about Last Jedi because I could go on all day because there's one very specific part of the movie that I think if it was removed, I think it'd be a pretty damn good film. But this one part of the movie, like I could deal with the wargs, the wargs, twerks, whatever the fuck they're called, porgs. I don't know. I could deal with them. I could deal with them jar jarring all over the film. If it weren't for this one extended sequence in the middle of the film that may or may not have dealt with
the horses
and a casino.
See, I just keep thinking like what a great movie it could have been had that been like a real stripped down scene where Rose, Finn, Poe, and BB-8 have to use their teamwork and their special skills to somehow infiltrate the dreadnought and destroy the beacon.
Yeah,
and use teamwork and it would be like a heist type thing.
Exactly.
And instead, no, it's horses on Casino Planet full of rich people.
Yeah, it would have been better.
Social justice message.
It would have been so much better if Poe was like, I'm such a good pilot, I can fly us in a way that will get through their shields.
It's
and
like
then
everyone's
Finn's
got a talent. Like Poe can fly them to get
Yeah,
through the shields. Finn's got a
been
code.
on those. He
knows
was
what door to open. Rose
BB-8 is a interfacing robot.
and Rose Tico is somehow technologically gifted.
She's
she can
just good at it.
bypass anything. You know,
that would have been so much better because you could have made it shorter and more meaningful. But the entire casino scene, I said I wouldn't
and then
get into it, but I'm gonna.
fails.
The whole casino scene. Here's my problem. More than just the ridiculousness of it, that whole casino scene exists to remind us that Finn is useful and we should feel bad for Rose. But guess what we just learned not minutes before that? Finn is useful and we should feel bad for Rose.
Well,
don't fucking remind me of something
what did we
just
learn minutes before that is Finn wanted to run away. Like, and then it's, I don't know. I can't. It's a movie.
We do need to do an episode where all we do is talk about Star Wars because, I mean, coming from, again, I said I was a Star Wars fan.
Especially because I just saw Solo and I hated it, and Star Wars is dead to me now.
Please don't say that the original trilogy is dead because I have my non-edited VHS copies.
So do I, but it's been, I can't unsee Ghost Hayden Christensen. I can't unhear oh la 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 instead of Yub Nub. You know, I can't.
Yeah. But I mean, it
kids
hasn't
will never
ruined
know.
it for me.
Some kids will never know.
It hasn't ruined it for me. Star Wars is one of those things like, and I think that's what the problem is. A lot of people keep comparing these new movies to the original trilogy, and I don't think you're supposed to. The original trilogy was, and not because of Lucas, but because of everyone who worked together, those movies are damn near perfect.
Yeah.
As far as like in the way, that's why they enthralled so many people. And people keep comparing the new ones to the old ones, and I think that's what's breaking the system. Because like, I don't know, there's very few movies where the sequel is better than the original. RoboCop being one of the few exceptions. But we'll argue that another day too. But yeah, I don't know where to go from here. That's our theater experiences, everybody. This is what it's like to try to see a damn movie nowadays.
I know. And the thing is that people are saying like, oh, the internet is killing the theater. No, it's not. I want to rush to the theater to see stuff like Solo so I don't get it spoiled for me because I still care enough about not hearing about who dies at the end or who is in Solo. It's who's the big cameo at the end. There's a big surprise cameo. You didn't see him coming and he thought he was dead, but he's not.
Well, and I like going to the theater. I like the big comfy chair. I like getting my pretzel and my popcorn and putting my feet up and I don't know. So there's this idea that when you go to a place that your brain knows that's what function it's specifically for, you're more into it. So like when you go to the gym, your brain knows that when you're at the gym, this is where you work out. It's kind of like, but when you go to work out at home, like you don't want to.
What is this gym of
it
which
might be
you
pronounced
speak?
Gaim. I'm not sure.
You go there and you work out. What is this?
But the thing with the theater is you go to the theater and your body knows this is the theater. I'm going to sit. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to munch on popcorn. I'm going to watch a big loud movie.
Well, it's not just it's not instinct so much as it's how you were raised. Like. You don't act up in the theater because other people would like to watch the movie.
That's true.
They're not here to see you.
My brother, I'm not going to say me. My brother caused us to be taken out of...
A friend of mine?
No, real world. My brother was 4 years older than me. And I have very vivid memories of some of them because there was movies I really wanted to see. And I didn't get to see them because he threw a shit fit and we ended up leaving the theater. But like you said, that's the raising. Our parents was like... My parents were like, you're not going to act, right? We're leaving the theater.
Yeah. So 28-year-old you is like, if I act up in here, someone's going to come take me out, just like mom and dad did.
If I act up,
yeah.
If I act up in the theater, Heather will just slap the piss out of me.
Well, you have that now, yeah. Brain dusters.
Oh my God.
So is that it?
It can be. We're at 30.
That's a long time.
Internet, we're at 38 minutes and 50 seconds. That's my sexy voice, I think. Steven has this blank stare that he just like, oh my God, William's doing a sexy voice.
You were like,
I'm in a tiny room with him.
I was looking at the picture of Beverly Crusher and I was flashing back, my brain was making a Star Wars reference about the animated episode where the computer they had the Enterprise computer serviced at a planet where women are the dominant sex.
Oh yeah.
And they changed it to be like, "Hi, dear, I'm the working." The answer is 55, Captain Dear. You know, it's like that's the way you sounded just now. Sounded just like that, except in a masculine way.
On a side note, I have an autographed picture from
That's what I was looking
Gates
at,
McFadden
yeah.
that says, "I like to play with myself."
She's holding her own action figure. It's
Which-
wonderful.
Maybe I can tell that story another time because it's a beautiful story as to why I got that autograph. But I also have,
You still
I
have
also have I have Dr. Crusher riding the Rancor.
yes.
With her data, her tricorder out, which I love. I love it so much. He's holding the Rancor is holding a dinosaur now. I got a dinosaur for him.
Cool.
For people out there, I have what we refer to as the geek shelf, and it's just got a bunch of just stuff that we like that we put on there.
It's all Loot Crate stuff.
No, actually, about 4% of it is Loot Crate stuff. Hey, I have a Big Trouble in Little China opposable action figure. Okay, that didn't
That's
come
right.
from Loot Crate.
And did you pay with that with credit card? No, buddy. Checks in the mail.
Exactly.
But don't.
No one's gonna understand what that's from, even
No
though
one
we
knows
just talked about Big Trouble in
Big
Little China.
Trouble in Little China is anymore. All right.
Well, thank you for listening to Booze and Movies.
Next time we'll see you next time probably.
Yeah, we'll think of a good topic to talk about. It'll probably say something dark and depressing like this one
Regarding booze and movies.
regarding booze and movies. All right, so signing off. I am William,
I'm Steven.
and thank you for listening.
See ya.